Hello, it's Mystic Games again, coming back at you with another Subnautica tier list. This time we're going to do the Fauna. I think this one will be a little bit more fun, and this is going to cover all of the creatures from both games, the first and the second. So we're going to start, it's in ABC order. The tier list was made by Froggy, to give them credit. See if I can roll up perfect. And we're going to start with the Amp Eel. I think the Amp Eel, he's from the first game. You can get him as a thing that you can put in your aquarium, and I like aquariums. I think he's an above average. I like the electricity and all that. I think it's a very interesting creature. The biter, who you find in the grassy plateaus, is... I would say he's B tier. I think he's cool. I think it's cool how they're supposed to be like they swarm you and they attack you in packs. I don't think the game does a super good job at actually showing that all the time, but I do think it's a cool concept. The Blighter is C tier. Simply, the Blighter is a poisonous version of the Biter, and I don't think it's very unique. I do like the idea of evolutions, though, like they change because of the biomes they're in. And I'll get to that when I get to certain other creatures. The Bone Shark, he blew up my sea moth in my playthrough, so he sucks. You know what? Actually, you know what? He sucks. D tier? No, I'm just joking. For design and just the idea of the creature, like it's attracted to light, we are going to put him in B. I don't think he's super unique or interesting in a sense of like what he is. He's like a light-sensitive shark that attacks you if you get near him or if you shine light at him. But he's essentially a shark. I mean, he's not much different than I would say than a normal shark. Crab snake. This one is like S, and I'm going to put it in S simply because I find it very cool that it like lives inside the mushroom, and if you come near its mushroom, it attacks you, and it's just very defensive of its biome and its living space. I think it's a very interesting creature. Crab Squid's up next. I'm going to actually put Crab Squid as well as an S because it, like the Bone Sharks, attracted to light, but it actually like releases an EMP to stop the, to get rid of the light essentially, which is just an interesting defense mechanism. It like shoots out an EMP. The crash fish is similar to the crab snake. I just don't like crash fish at all. I think they're annoying. And I'm actually going to put them in C. They live in sulfur plants. They come at you when you get too close, and they blow up. Lava lizard's cool. They shoot lava. I'm going to put them in A. I think they're unique enough that they kind of are like a mix between a lizard and a fish. The mesmer I'm also going to put in A. I think it's really cool how it attracts you with its... I don't want to call it like pheromones or whatever you want to call them, and then it takes a chunk out of you. I don't like the fact that its mouth, the way its mouth opens. I just think it's really, I don't know, I find it very strange that it does what it does when it actually takes a bite. I do like the making you attracted to it thing. River Prowler, I'm putting in B. I like the creature, but it wasn't that interesting to me. It does fit with the biome very well, though. Bone Shark. Or Sand Shark, I mean. Man, is that A? Or is it B? If I were looking purely at, the game, not the gameplay, the idea of the creature, I'd probably put this one in A, but for the gameplay, I'm putting it in B. I'm not doing like lower B, upper B, higher A, higher S, just so you guys know. I'm just doing them as I put them in the list. Sand Shark, the concept, if this wasn't a game, is really cool, but because it's a game, the Sand Shark is nuts. Like, and I'm sure anyone that's watching this probably has played Subnautica. The Sand Shark comes up at you and it swims all over the place. It goes crazy. Like, it doesn't just do what it needs to do, and then like it's a very weird way it swims and comes at you and everything. So I'm putting it in B. I do think if it weren't a video game and we saw this thing in actual action, it would probably be more A, because it would probably be more streamlined. The Stalker goes with the Snow Stalker. It's like an evolutionary path, just so everyone knows. They just evolve differently. I do like the Stalker. I think I'm going to put that in A due to its attraction of metal, and I think the gameplay works well with the fact that it's attracted to it. And I like the idea that you get its teeth. The Warper is technically not Fauna. It's a creation. So I'm going to put it in D. The fact that they only come after you if you are infected is cool, but again, they're not really... I'm not counting them as Fauna. Bladderfish is an interesting fish. It's your source of water. It's just your source of air. It has a lot of usefulness, but I'm not super big fan of the fish in a general sense, other than that I need it. Boomerang fish, I'm going to put in C as well. I don't find the fish very interesting. Essentially, it has glowing tails, and the reason the boomerang fish has these glowing tails on the back of it is to get eaten so then they can grow back without the whole fish dying, because they like detach. I'm actually going to put boomerang fish in D. The Crimson Ray, all the rays are really cool for the fact that they all evolve from like the Alpha Ray. We don't get to see the Alpha Ray, which is something I wish they would do. I kind of wish they would do in the next game I might actually talk about that in a separate video, but there's an Alpha Peeper and an Alpha Ray where everything evolved from. It would actually be really cool to actually run into an Alpha Ray or an Alpha Ray or an Alpha Peeper, essentially where they didn't need to evolve. And I think that would be a cool idea. But all the rays are pretty interesting in the sense of like their backstory, but in actual gameplay, there's not much to them. You find this in the Magma Zone. We're actually going to do... I'm going to put all the rays essentially in the same category. They all serve the same purpose. They're a creature that went to a different zone, evolved in a different way, and essentially serve as scenery, and they are pretty. They do well in the game for the purpose they serve, and their lore is interesting enough, but I don't think they really provide anything to the game. I think the Jelly Ray is a little more interesting, because at least I'll put that Jelly Ray in C, because at least I can put that in my aquarium. These two you can't get. Normally I try to build around this, because then I at least have access to the site of it. The Cuttlefish is S tier. It is the interactable pet fish thing that you can capture, and it's your buddy. So, Cuttlefish all the way. The II is D tier. I'm not a big fan of the II. Gary Fish is D tier. I'm not a big fan of the Gary Fish. It's just a weird looking fish. Gasopod, A tier. It has like a gas mask on its face. It shoots out gas pods that poison you. It's thematic. It looks the part, and it's just an interesting creature that provides some extra like gameplay to the world. Oh, here we have the Rabbit Ray too. The Rabbit Ray is also capturable. We're gonna put that in C tier. The Holefish. I'm trying to think if I like the Holefish. I like the Holefish better than I do like the Hoopfish. I think the Hoverfish is actually going to be C. And I simply like the Hoverfish because it looks different. It looks like a frog almost, that swims around. Magmarang's like a reskin. Magmarang and Red Eye are reskins, so I'm not a big fan of those. I don't feel like much thought was put into these at all. I think it was we got to the end of the game, we're going to release it, and we want to change things a little bit. But that seems like a lack of work and effort. I don't dislike reskins, by the way, guys. I just think that it would have been cool if they had something down there other than this, and this. I believe this was the other creature. I don't think there was even anything else down there. It would have been cool if they had done something else more unique, in a sense. That's all I'm going to say about that. Whole fish. I'm going to put whole fish in D. I do like this fish. I simply think it looks cool. I don't remember what the hole is for. I think it's to like cycle water through. The hoop fish is about essentially the same thing. It's part of the bladderfish evolutionary chain, they believe. I believe that's what the PDA says about it. The peeper I'm going to put in A. The peeper to me is super cool, and I like the Reginald and the Oculus as well. They're all like evolutionary paths of the peeper. The spadefish might be too. It does have an eye. I'm not sure about that one though. That could technically share the same path as eye or red eye. But Oculus is B, Reginald is B, but the peeper is one of my favorite fish in the game. I would like to see an alpha peeper, as I said before. I think that's really cool. The Sky Ray is going to be put in C. I think it's the first land like creature that you more or less will generally see that evolved for the sky, and it's part of the ray, so it's part of the rabbit ray, jelly ray, ghost ray, crimson ray, the alpha ray, from my understanding. I think this is part of the chain there, but it is unique enough because it flies that I think it serves a unique purpose. I could almost throw this in B, but I'm not gonna. I think it does belong in C. It doesn't really, you can scan it and then it's just there for visuals. It doesn't provide much. Spadefish, D. Not a big fan. Spinefish, D. I'm not going to explain. Okay, so amoeboids are the creatures in the Lost River. They're going in C. I think they're cool, but they don't really... They're more like a plant. They really don't serve any purpose other than to scan. Ancient floaters are S. They literally pick up land, bring it to the surface, and create islands, potentially. I think that is such a cool idea, and I would like to see that in the next game. I have an idea for like the whole Subnautica 3 if I were to make it, like how I would do it, but I think the ancient floater would be really cool to have, like, instead of doing like one big island, have like a medium island with like two smaller islands that are connected that have floaters. I think that would be a cool way of doing it. But yeah, so that, I think the ancient floater is just a very unique and cool thing. I think floaters in general, we're gonna put them up there too. They're S tier. You can also do a lot of things with the floaters in the game to like play around with mechanics, which is cool as well. Bleeders, they're annoying, but they are B tier, and they're simply B tier because they are unique. They grab onto you, and they are like leeches, and they try to suck the life out of you. They are a very unique creature, and I think they serve... What they do is, I think, very good for the game. Blood crawlers are essentially a reskin, in my opinion, for the deeper areas. Cave crawlers are B because they do serve a purpose, I feel like. When you go on land, they tend to be there. It's to give you some sort of threat when you're on land as well. The blood crawler is for the deeper parts of the section. It's like an evolutionary path. It's not not an uncool creature, but I don't think it really serves a purpose in the gameplay, and I just don't think it's that cool. Lava larva. This is an interesting one. For gameplay, I would say B. But for the lore and stuff behind the lava larva, I would say C. I also don't like that in the gameplay they only attack your power, and I believe it reads that they like hot stuff too, so they should be suctioned to like hot heated areas, and I don't think that happens in game, or at least I've never noticed it. So I think that's a miss on that. If that were added to the game and they were more seen doing what they're supposed to do, not just on your ship, I would find them more interesting. Rock grub. I love rock grubs, man. In the below zero, you can actually get these in your aquarium too. We're going to put them in C. I don't think they provide much. They're a cool little thing. In the first game, you can pick them up. You can't really do much else. But they glow in the dark. They're really small. I think they're interesting. They're supposed to be like one of the basic prey creatures that everything else eats. Kind of like a plankton, almost, in a sense. Shuttlebug. C tier. They swim around in caves, and they kind of look scary, but they don't do much. They're kind of like a... Oh my god, I'm trying to think of what those things that you put in your fish tank. They eat all the algae and stuff. That's what they are. Ghost Leviathan. A or S? A or S? I would say A for the Ghost Leviathan. I do like, if I were going to put in that they spawn to keep you away from the world's edge, I would say S. I think that almost puts them into S, but I think the idea of the Ghost Leviathan and everything else is A. I do like how the Ghost Leviathan comes from like the Lost River, swims up, and is a very aggressive creature. And I like how they are in the void, essentially, swimming out in the dark, deep water. But I don't think that these are the creature that I find most scary. I think it is the Reaper. And I think Reaper is an S tier creature. I think it's horrifying. I think the sounds it makes is horrifying. I think the attack animation is horrifying. It may not be as big as your Ghost Leviathans or your Sea Dragons, but I think it is a far scarier creature because it is one of the first hostile Leviathans you will most likely see in the game. You could run into the Ghost Leviathan if you go certain places, but you're more likely probably to run into the Reaper. The Reefback is like a giant whale. It's super cool. I'm putting it in A tier. I think it gives the ambiance of peace and serenity for this giant creature. I think it looks weird enough where you're kind of spooked out the first time you see it, and I think seeing this and knowing that, hey, well, this thing didn't hurt me, and then seeing this giant creature just that wants to rip you apart, it's a good offset, and it makes the Reaper scarier, and it technically makes all the other more aggressive Leviathan more scary. I'm going to put Sea Dragon in S. I think the Sea Dragon shooting fire and, you know, coming after you in design is really cool. I think there's a lot more lore to it that we don't know about because the game doesn't explain it, and I think it was explained in early access. They don't even have the Sea Emperor mother. They just have juvenile and baby, which is weird. We're gonna put both the baby and the juvenile in S. They give you the enzyme 42, I want to say the number is, if I remember correctly, that cures everything else and pretty much is immune to the plague. I do believe sea dragons are immune as well, and I believe they re-say this in Below Zero as well, that the sea dragon was immune. But I don't know if it could produce the enzyme like these creatures could. But that's the reason I think you don't see the sea dragon being infected. Although the young might have been infectable, I'm not sure. The sea treader. Oh, this is a B tier. I could almost put this in A tier, but it's a B tier creature. I think it's unique. I think it's cool. I think it kind of serves a similar purpose to the Reefback, but it's later in the game. And I think it really just brings ambiance to the zone that it's in. And that is important. Like, things that are unique, but not, like, super cool, I think that's kind of what's going in B for me. It's like things that bring something to the game, but aren't, you know, game breaking or game changing. Like, this kicks up shell and stuff. It's a cool thing. I think if this was earlier in the game, like if you saw this before you saw the Reefback, I'd probably have it in A. But you're generally going to see it later. So now we're into Below Zero. And what I'm going to do here is, I think I'm going to end this video. I think this is 20 minutes. I think this is good for the fauna of the first episode here. This is your your Subnautica original fauna. This is my ranking of them all. And I think this is where we end it, guys. I appreciate you guys watching. Like, subscribe if you're enjoying it. Obviously helps. I'm a small channel. I love doing these kind of videos. I love doing playthroughs. You know, this is just fun for me. So I appreciate the support. Have a great day, and keep on gaming, guys.